Good morning and welcome to Mrs. Bell's Sweet Treats and More. This is my YouTube channel. Today is Monday and this is Monday Moments. If you're viewing this, it's probably after Mother's Day. I just wanted to make this treat for you. It is something that's really simple. I've made it from scratch and I've made it from box mix. So it's called a coconut poke cake, but I'm making it into a coconut funfetti cake. I tend to try to find the easier ingredients, quicker ways to do things than what I got on hand. Funfetti has a number of cake mixes and frostings, and you can also just use regular cake mix and put sprinkles in it, however you want to do it. But this I thought would be kind of a fun cake to make. Spring, when I think about spring, I think about coconut, I think about pineapple, and we'll be having a pineapple one coming up. But I also like the simplicity of a single cake. It is the time that we are going through a lot of different changes, and things have already changed for many of us. And now we are going to, as the news continues to speak information, we will be opening up different cities. I hope that in these last days that you have an opportunity to cook or to try something, and if you've tried the recipes, please let me know. I love to cook and I love goodies. So we're gonna get started. I usually use Duncan Hines, but I found Pillsbury has brand as well. I'm just partial to Duncan Hines, but you can use Betty Crocker. You can even use a plain white cake mix or any flavor you want and put some sprinkles in it. The sprinkles add this element of boom to me, especially when you're with children. And sometimes I think we need to sprinkle our lives. We have a lot going on. I'm not saying that we need to add another thing, but sometimes something that puts a smile on your face may be as simple as some sprinkles, sprinkling it on something that you already have. So I've already opened it, and I'm gonna dump the cake mix, and you can probably, I'm hoping you can see some of the little sprinkles in there. So I use one package of the cake mix, and then I add, if you have coconut extract, by all means use it. If you only have vanilla, use vanilla. If you don't have either, do not let that be a problem. This just adds a little To my mix, I'm going to add egg whites, and I always, those who have watched me, I put my flavoring into my egg so that it all mixes together. Today I'm using only egg whites. You can certainly use eggs, whole eggs, 3 whole eggs. For this recipe, I am using 4 egg whites, large egg whites. And I'm gonna pour that right in. And you can already smell the coconut and the vanilla. And I chose clear because you don't have to use clear. Clear is what I use because I want to make that drastic, that whiteness, the newness. Spring is a new time. There's a different smell in the air with spring. There is a lot of things that go on with spring. And so I like to have that new, like a new slate. To my ingredients, I'm going to add water. I'm going to mix it a little bit. I don't want it everywhere, and as some of you know, I'm going to add, first of all, I'm going to add my oil to it. And the recipe is below. Then I'm going to start adding my water, and I'm just going to mix it a little bit slow. I don't like to be wearing my cake mix, which sometimes you have seen me do. And I'm adding a little bit more water, and the recipe of course is below. And it smells so good. Now it's just a cake with flavoring with it, but it's the color. I've added my water. I'm going to do a scrape down, and then I'm going to beat it because it's, you can see it's really watery. I want to make sure I get all that cake batter off the bottom and mixed in. Yeah. It's important to mix the cake so that you don't have scrambled egg cake or scrambled egg white cake and clumps. In the past, I've had clumps. As I've told you before, I had to learn how to cook. My mother was a magnificent cook. We grew up, we were not well off, but my mother could cook. Oh my goodness, the things she could cook. So I'm gonna whip that just about a minute. And I'm gonna place it in a 9 by 13 pan that I've already prepared. Sometimes we take what we have. When I cook, I take what I have in the house. If I don't have vanilla, I found ways to work around that. If I don't have the cake mix that I want, if I'm doing something for a child or something to look spectacular, I put some sprinkles in it. And sometimes just chocolate chips. Sometimes it's okay by itself, just like you. Sometimes, you know, you have clothes in the closet and things you wear or uniform. One of my daughters was just, when my girls went to school, they wore uniforms. And one of my daughters she wore a uniform, but she would wear 2 different size socks. She would put on a ankle sock with a long sock, or she would put a different color on her socks. She put a different tie, something that made her distinguished. And I thought that was amazing. She had one day a sock that was all the way up to her knee, over her knee, and then this little bitty regular anklet. She had this sense of style that was not going to be controlled. She went along with the uniform, but she found ways to put the bow different, and she was a trendsetter at that time. And I marvel that we sometimes, when we take our box mix, we have a way of looking at box mix. We have a way of sometimes looking at ourselves and seeing, oh, it's just ordinary. I was never say that. There's nothing ordinary about you. Yeah, we all have 2 eyes. Most of us have 2 legs. We have a nose. That's basic. We have a head with a brain in it. Okay? But your brain is different. You think different. You see things different. And so when you see yourself as being just a, what's up with that? You're not just a. Nobody has your DNA. And God knows which hair, the number of hair that fell out this morning. He knows that. He also created you for purpose. You are amazing. So when you make this cake and think of sprinkles, I want you to see yourself as the sprinkle spectacular. Here is my batter, and I'm going to pour it in. So when you go back to work, when you go back to school, when you go back to where you were 8 weeks ago, 10 weeks ago, I want to encourage you. You're a different person than you were because you've had this time. And when you add the sprinkles, I want you to add the sprinkle to yourself. When you look in the mirror, I used to tell our children, when you look in the mirror, many times children, you know, we hug our parents or parents hug their children or something we're doing to someone. But when was the last time you hugged yourself? You've come through this period with this virus, and you're amazing. Some have come through very great difficulty, great difficulty. But you're here. The birds are outside. The ants are outside. I don't want to think about the bugs because I lived in Georgia for a minute. Oh my goodness. They know how to have supersized bugs, but I digress. I want to encourage you. Take yourself that you see, and give yourself the biggest hug and tell you have been with me through everything. Talk to yourself. Look in the mirror. It's okay. A lot of people talk to themselves. As long as you ain't arguing back and forth with yourself, that's a good thing. Sometimes you may need to do that. So here is our cake, and I want you to take a look at see the sprinkles? We're going to put that in the oven. And we're going to see how we can take our cake, spin it, and make it make it into the same coconut quick poke cake, but we're going to have a surprise inside. Stay with me. We'll be back soon. Well, the cake's out the oven and it has cooled off. I poked holes in it. I used a knife. I don't know if you can see that. Now, I'm going to prepare to make the topping really, really simple. No real measurements. I have a regular size Cool Whip, or you can use any of the whip toppings. I set it out for a little bit so that it would get a little soft. And I'm going to mix it with half of regular frosting pre-made, real simple. What you may have at home, it may be fine. I have, for this one, I'm using whipped, and it's Betty Crocker. So I'm going to take about half of this tub and put it in here. And then I'm going to take about half of the Cool Whip, probably a little less than half, and put it in the bowl. I'll put those aside, and I'm just going to mix them. Now, you don't have to do this, but I do this. I'm going to add just a little bit of my coconut flavoring to the top, to the topping, just a little bit. Probably 1/8 of a teaspoon. I'm not trying to dominate coconut everywhere. And I'm not going to add vanilla to that. I'm just going to leave it with the coconut. I'm going to stir this up together. Make sure that that's in there. Oh, it smells so good. I'm going to add just a little bit more Cool Whip. And then we're going to top it with coconut. This is a simple recipe, and if you like coconut, I think you'll enjoy this. I don't make a lot of coconut dishes. I like coconut shrimp. I make coconut shrimp and things like that, but this one is kind of delightful. So I just take it, I just mixed it up, and I'm just going to cover my cake with it. And it's real fluffy because of the Cool Whip. And it's actually a whipped topping, the whipped frosting. So I'm just going to get it in there. Make sure it's on every part of the cake, the poke cake. Because we don't want anybody to know that it's a little surprise inside. So. And I don't do anything complicated, just get it on there. And I do want to make sure that it's fluffy enough that nobody sees any of the, not just the sprinkles, but any of the cake. I like a full covering of frosting. And It's really, okay. So I got that on there, and then I'm just gonna go back and forth and back and forth to give that kind of a cool frosting. I've seen people use a fork and go back and forth to make that kind of look. So we've put the frosting on. Now we're going to add coconut, and I just sprinkle it on. I use my hand. And it's just something about coconut and the color white. Sometimes I've toasted this, but for what we're doing now, we just want to do a presentation. You can actually top it with some colorful fruit if you'd like. But I'm just gonna put the coconut on top. And I like it to look like it's a blanket. And so I use about a little less than a cup of coconut. So here is our coconut funfetti cake. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut a piece. Well, it would have been good if I had a knife. So I'm just gonna cut a piece. And let you see what kind of makes it cool is that we have, of course that frosting is delicious. So I added cut a piece. And that is our Funfetti coconut poke cake. It's a box mix, but it tastes really good. I hope you get to enjoy it. Together we can do this. Together we can do this. If you want to do a spin on it, you could probably add chocolate chips, because the chocolate with the coconut would give it another flavor. Maybe throw some nuts in. It's up to you. It's all about you. So I hope you enjoy it and let me know how you like it. And happy belated Mother's Day. Have a good one. Bye-bye.